All right, let's talk about wide receiver. They obviously added George Pickens and Calvin Austin. They now have Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Pickens, and Austin. People have a lot of questions and a lot of opinions. I for one, said this on Tuesday that I believe Chase Claypool should be moved to the slot, put Pickens on the outside. He's a much better route runner. Chase doesn't have to play a Juju style slot. He could play Chase Claypool on the outside, just playing against smaller defenders on the inside, still work the way down the middle. Kenny Pickett doesn't have a huge arm. You're not going to be tossing 50-50 balls to him all the time. Calvin Austin, I think he's only going to play the slot in the NFL as much as he did play the outside in college. People seem to disagree with that philosophy. I felt as if I was dead on when I gave it. Nobody agreed.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think that, he's got to go to the slot when they go 11 personnel. Now, I still think Claypool's going to be wide receiver 2 when the season opens.
Yeah.
Now, how that all shakes out will depend on, his play. But like you said, I think that you've got to look at it from the perspective of what gives you the opportunity to put the best personnel on the field. And that is going 11 personnel with Pat, Najee, Deontay, Chase, and George. That's what it is. That will be their best personnel next season. So in that regard, I would like to see Pickens at the Z and move Chase to the slot. I mean, you can do it different ways. And like I mentioned, Kenny Pickett likes to throw in the middle of the field. So that could be an area where, like, Chase's game actually improves by putting him in an area that really Pickett thrives on. And I like that, being able to have that bigger body, and he's not always having to track the ball down the field because he kind of struggles with that, winning those contested catches. But the thing about Chase that makes him so unique for his size is how good he is with the football. Like, Chase is really good when he gets the ball in his hands. It's just getting him the ball that's difficult because he doesn't really separate very well or win those contested catches. So, but like on those underneath routes, I know it's going to look different than what Juju did with like the breaking tackles and trying to run people over. I think getting Chase the football, like, he's really fast and he's a really good runner after the catch. So those things excite me. How Calvin Austin fits into that fold, I think he's definitely going to play primarily in the slot, obviously, because he's, not even 5'8". But what's unique about Austin is he spent all but like 40 of his snaps last season at Memphis on the boundary. So he has experience like beating press coverage and playing out wide and things like that, to where, if he does have to go out there for a couple snaps, he's not going to be totally lost to where cornerbacks are just going to be able to get in his face and just jam him off the line. He has a really detailed release package, which will help him in the slot. You just normally don't see as much press coverage in there. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't think you could ask for more as far as from a talent level out of those 4 guys. I mean, I'm extremely excited about that group. We talked about where the roster's really shown the biggest improvement, and I think it's receiver just from last year. I mean, you look at who they were running out last year. I mean, you go from Deontay, Chase, and then having like Ray McLeod behind them,
Cody White,
and and then all of a sudden you got George Pickens and Calvin Austin. Like, that's a big upgrade. No disrespect to Ray and Cody. They did what they could, but just from a talent perspective, that's a big difference.
Yeah, I agreed. And I think Chase, I agree with you with Chase getting the ball in his hands. That's the problem, is I felt like when he was at Z, and maybe this was just, Ben Roethlisberger having to play Ben Roethlisberger's offense, but Chase ran one route all season long, and it was straight down the field. Yeah, like, it was just go route after go route. We're going to throw it up to you. And he did the same thing when he was in the slot. The difference was when he was in the slot, he had some separation because he was playing smaller guys. That's when he usually caught the football. I think that he works out so well in the slot. And if Matt Canada's offense actually utilizes players with talent, all we keep hearing is it's about getting the skill guys the football. Last year, it was not that at all. If that's what it could actually be, Chase could be what they hope Chase Claypool is. They never once drafted Chase Claypool to just be the guy that runs straight down the field and makes catches. Like, the whole Megatron thing, I felt, that was a little pushed on him because of how he looked. But I don't think that's what Chase was. Like, Chase came in here, and at a time, people were like, Chase Claypool might play tight end during his draft process. because he's good with the ball in his hands. He runs better routes, than people think.
It's a good example of guys testing faster than they play. I mean, there was a big question about Chase, like moving. Would he be able to play receiver? Because he just didn't stack corners like that and run vertically in college. Like a lot of his big plays were with the football in his hands and playing in the slot. So he wasn't a guy that was just winning a ton vertically. Granted, he didn't have the best quarterback play in college either, but I definitely think moving him to the slot's the best way to get the most out of him as a player. But we'll see how that happens. I'm interested to see how that all shakes out as far as the division of labor goes.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll see that in the upcoming weeks here. Black and Yellow Texas Steel has a question here. Would you rather trade Deontay or Chase? I think that's a very hypothetical question. But that being said, Chase Claypool is by far the easy answer right now. I mean, if you remove Chase Claypool from this offense, you can replace him. If you remove Deontay Johnson from this offense, you're really hoping George Pickens is already a star come week 1. And I'm not saying he's not going to be. I'm just saying it's a lot easier to say, we'll get rid of Pickens and put George Pickens or Claypool and put George Pickens over there than get rid of Deontay and try to replace that X position.
Yeah, and in this offense, Deontay is a lot more valuable. And as a player, I think he's got more value than Claypool. Now, with that being said, I ain't trading either one of them. I'm keeping
no. Yeah,
I got a rookie. I got a rookie quarterback and an offensive line that's like really young, and we really have a lot of question marks up there. The one strength of this team right now is the weapons. I mean, adding Claypool and Austin to this group, that's a strength. So I'm keeping them. Now, one thing that is interesting, and I'm not saying that this is their plan. I think it's interesting because Pickens was one of the very few guys, along with like Garrett Wilson, who I thought could really play that X role in the Steelers offense. The thing with Pickens is, though, he didn't run an extremely diverse route tree at Georgia. I mean, they do run some pro style stuff, but it's pretty much like slant, go, back shoulder, hitch. That's pretty much it. I mean, there's not a ton of routes that he was running, but I do think he is a good route runner. Like, I think he will be a good route runner, especially for his size. It's going to look different than Deontay because he's 5'11". But Pickens, even at 6'3", I mean, he's talked about his ability to move like a smaller guy. So I think that he could be that X guy in the event that, let's just say hypothetically, the Steelers don't want to franchise Deontay and they do let him walk in free agency, which I don't think they should do, and I hope that they don't. But if they do, I could see George sliding over there because I'm very skeptical that Chase could play Deontay's role. I don't think
Chase cannot play Deontay's role.
But I do think George has an outside shot at being able to do it.
Yeah, I think George is much better route runner than Chase is already. I do not see Chase as that guy. But that being said, in the Steelers offense, Chase does fit other positions and George does fit other positions. Deontay is an X, and he's very good X, and he's always open. And like in the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, you need that guy that's always open. So it is what it is.